Hi everyone, and welcome to this free training on how to feel beautiful and confident. First of all, I want to welcome all the new members to this great community, Daring Greatly Diva community. I'm really honored that you wanted to be part of this community and that you are really ready to, fall in love with yourself. This is a community that is all about becoming the best versions of ourselves. I use as an inspiration author Brené Brown and her book Daring Greatly. If you haven't got a copy of that, I truly recommend you get a copy of her book. It is really amazing about how it really helps you dissect a lot of the things that you're feeling inside that makes you feel that you are not good enough. So I really encourage you to get in that book. And in the training today, well, I want to talk a lot about a lot of things, but everything that I'm going to be teaching today has it's pieces and bits from the book that I'm writing. I'm Not Fat, I'm Delicious, which will be coming up pretty soon in print. So the reason why I wrote this book is because I went obviously through a life journey of self-discovery and self-love. And in the process, with my engineering mind, I really wanted to understand what exactly happened to me, how I accomplished this transformation, so that I can come up with a formula that later on I can share with all of you, and you can duplicate it. Because there's no way of going through life feeling that you're not good enough, feeling inadequate, feeling that you're not beautiful, feeling that you don't love your body, that you are too fat, too old, too awkward, too tomboyish, too short, too anything, or in other areas of your life that you are not smart enough, that you're not deserving enough, that you are not daring enough, that you're not good enough mother, that you're not good enough wife, that you're not good enough for a man. It's no way of going through life. A lot of us might have a lot going on for ourselves in our lives. Like I remember when I started my journey, when I realized something had to change, well, I had accomplished a lot already. I mean, I had a master's degree in engineering. I was working as an engineer, and then on the side, I had my photography business doing weddings. I was independent. I had a healthy body, even though I was struggling with my weight, but I couldn't see all that. I only saw what I was not and what I didn't have, instead of focusing and being grateful for everything that I was and everything that I had accomplished. So when I look at my life and analyze it, well, I wasn't proud of it. I didn't have anything. I would ask myself, are you happy, Argentina? And I said, well, I'm not unhappy, but I'm not thrilled. You see, I remember when I was very young, somewhere around in high school, it's when you start dreaming about what you want to do when you grow up. And I had this vision, and I thought, when I have that, I will be happy. When I graduate from high school and go to college, I'm going to be happy. So I went to college, and it was so stressful. It was fun, but still, it's college. And then I thought, oh my God, I can't take, I'm just can't wait to finish college and get into a master's degree program and get out of Mexico and go into the university in the United States. So that happened. I graduated. I was able to, after 2 years of trying, I was able to get into a master's program at Georgia Tech. And once I was there, I was excited at the beginning, but later on, life takes on, you're working so hard. And then I felt like, oh my God, it is like, I can't wait for this master's degree to be over so I can be happy. And so I finished my master's degree, and I still didn't feel thrilled about my life. And then on top of that, I gained a lot of weight. I was almost 250 pounds because of the stress of, school. So I was eating a lot. And then I thought and then I was 26 by then. I was still single, and I thought I can't go back home, with a master's degree, looking like this, and on top of that, being single. I was always, so defined by my relationship status. I only had one boyfriend in Mexico, and really I just dated him so that they wouldn't say that nobody would date me. And I resented every single moment of that. And more about that a little bit later in my future relationships. But in any case, I married the first man that asked me, because I was like, great, I need to have a husband, otherwise I'm going to go back home and I'm going to be the fat cousin that, yes, is very smart, but she's alone. So I married the first so I thought when I have that, I'll be happy. And of course it wasn't, because I wasn't in love. And years passed. Now I'm close to 30. And then I thought, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to be happy. I'm not happy now. I'm going to be happy when I get divorced. So I got divorced, and obviously I wasn't happy. And it just went on and on in several relationships. And it got to the point in which I had to put a stop to that. And it really came when, after my second divorce, that I really had to have a very honest conversation with myself about what was going wrong, what I was doing wrong, how did I get myself there? Because at that point I'm 35, 36, and how the hell did I find myself here, still single, no children, struggling with my weight, alone. I couldn't see everything that I had. All I saw was everything I didn't have and everything I was not. So in that process, I did a lot of self-discovery, and studied a lot, books, retreats, coaches, therapy, all that, because I was determined to find out what I was doing wrong, because it couldn't be the man. Everybody had, all the relationships that I had one thing in common, and that was me. It was me. So I had to take it as it is, it's not you, it's me. And it was very, it was one of the toughest things that I had to do in my life. And that's what I want to, talk to you today, because everything comes to one thing. And it's decide that your future does not equal your past. Wherever you are in this moment in your life, you don't have to stay there. You can move forward. You can change it. And you have to first realize that nobody's going to come and rescue you. Nobody is going to help you. Nobody is going to, there will be people around you that will support you, but you have to do the legwork. It's like going and riding a bike. Doesn't matter how much support you have, you still have to be the one that gets into the bike and starts paddling and facing your fears. So in your life, whatever area are in your life, you don't have to stay there. There is a way out. And I discover, because I'm a living proof, I changed my life radically from feeling, a mediocre person despite of everything that I had accomplished. I felt very unattractive. I felt like a loser because I couldn't, find a good husband. I had no problem finding husbands. It was not the type of man that I could fall in love with and admire and respect. For me, that was like a very high quality man. And those guys don't look down at girls like me. They look at pretty girls, younger, skinnier, white, not somebody like me. So I blame my appearance to the fact that I didn't find a quality man that my family could be proud of, which was huge because I was so defined in that moment by my marital status. And which is something also I want to talk about you, because I was sabotaging myself and I was hitting these mental barriers that prevented me from really leaping into fully living my life and being genuinely happy and loving myself. A lot of that had to do with my body image, and in you in this group is, I mean, honestly, unless you're one of the few 1%, 2% in the world, we all as women get exposed to so many definitions and perceptions of beauty that we can't avoid it but to compare ourselves with those standards. And when we are very young, well, these standards really put a belief system in our heads about what we should look like, because the message that we're getting as little girls is that in order to be loved and accepted, we have to look in a certain way. We have to be beautiful little girls, skinny, well-behaved, going in this direction. All that message, subliminal or explicit, it gets put into our heads. So we grow up and we take the belief system to our adult life. And so it affects everything, all the decisions that we make in our lives. So adults in our life as children do the damage, but they cannot undo it. It doesn't matter what people tell us. I'm sure you've been told by your husband, partners, friends, girlfriends, that you're beautiful, that there's nothing wrong with you, that you have so much going on. And you're like, okay, maybe you're right, but I just don't see it. I don't feel it. And that's because of these mental barriers that we have, this belief system that we have. So the key for me to really start making this shift was that changing that belief system. And I want to tell you something. To feel beautiful, to increase your confidence, your self-esteem, there is no magic pill. One thing is, doing something physical. For example, doing your makeup, and right there you can feel beautiful. But how do you feel without makeup? Then you feel ugly. Then you go and hide. So how about feeling beautiful no matter what? No matter where you are, no matter how old you are, no matter you're dressed up or not, no matter if you are skinny or gain some weight, no matter if after having children or an accident suddenly your body has scars, what would life be like? How would you feel? What that version of you behave and believe if she thought every single minute of her life that she is beautiful, worthy, and strong, capable of anything she wants, and it's up to her, doesn't need to be rescued, and you can take anything on your life. Not that we're wishing bad things to come to us, but that if something comes into your life, you're strong enough that you can handle it. You actually look at, challenges in the eye and say, like, come and get me. Let's see what you got. I can take you. That is resilience. That is confidence. The belief that, your value as a woman is not defined by this exterior shell. I'm also want to talk to you about, taking care of this shell, because it's nice to obviously look beautiful, look our best, but it doesn't define us. No, the same thing that if you're driving your car around, is the efficiency and value of your car defined by whether it's clean or dirty? No, it gives you the same service. It has a purpose to take you from place A to place B. Just because your car is dirty, that doesn't mean that it's less worthy. You just need to take it to the car wash. Same thing for our bodies. Just because we're not dressed up and looking like models every day, that doesn't mean that we're less valuable. When we show up into the world in our pajamas, and you, after hours without sleep of raising, taking care of your baby, and breastfeeding, your breasts are not the same, and you have this tummy push, and develop cellulite, it still is taking you around this world. It doesn't define, you are no less of a woman because of that. On the contrary, you graduated. You graduated to the next level of womanhood. You produce life. You have been using this body to live life. So I'm very excited that you're here in this group, because my purpose in life is to empower women. I really believe that when women believe in themselves, feel beautiful, feel that they are good enough, know who they are, we become unstoppable. And we can make great changes in the world. We can inspire other women. We can inspire our children. And we just live a more fulfilled life. Look, as human beings, we have that responsibility to the world of become the best version of ourselves, to be the best that we can be for the people who love us and who are depending on us. So when you don't believe in yourself, when you don't feel that you are good enough, when you think that you are weak or incapable, how can you inspire others? How can you help your own children? How can you help your girlfriends? So this is about owning your worthiness and your value as a woman on your own terms. Because listen to this. This is a true fact. If you don't define your value as a woman, somebody else will. So how about it together in this community? We support each other so we can all together grow and own our worthiness, own our value as women, and inspire others. So, so I'm going to go over now, the training, and I have my notes here. I got my glasses right here. It happens when you get old. So, but I want to talk to you about 6 different things that, when I did my transformation, and I sat down to define what are the steps, what exactly happened to get me to where I am today, where I am successful, I'm strong, I feel beautiful, even though my body is getting older. I love my body and I respect my body, and everything that I do for my body is out of respect and love for my body, because I want my body to last a long time. I need my body to be in this world. I stopped doing the things that I used to do for my body, like the way I ate or dieted or punished my body in the gym. I stopped doing it to be skinny, to be liked by men. That's what I did it before. Now I do it to be strong, to be able to live a long life with good quality life. And as a result, well, the body looks nicer. It's kind of like when you give maintenance to your car. You take it often to get washed and polished, and if something breaks, you replace it. Then the car, obviously, as it gets older, is still gonna look pretty good, instead of being completely ignored and never change the oil, never wash it, always in the sun, never repair, replace any broken parts. Of course, it's not going to be the same car that if you take care of it. So it's a different perception or perspective. So the 6 things I'm going to go one by one, the things that I did, and that you can do as well. Again, I love formulas because I'm an engineer. I love formulas. Because you can replicate them. That's what a formula does. If you replicate it, it's going to give you the same result. You can change the variables. If you did algebra, x can be any number, but the process is always the same. X plus y will give you z, and you can change the values of x and y, but you will always get a value of z. So how high do you want that value of z depends on what you put in x and y, okay? So sorry, that was my engineering thing, going there a little bit. So the first thing that I did when I started my self-discovery journey was I started working really, really hard in doing a change in my mindset. What is that? When you're changing your mindset, making a shift in your mindset, that means that you are changing your belief system. As I said earlier, when we are girls, we absorb everything that goes around in our lives, and we create a belief system about the world and about ourselves. Let's say that we have a little girl that grows, let's say in a family that is kind of like the Rockefellers, okay? That girl is gonna grow up with a belief system about her worth, what she can do in life, what she deserves, who she can marry, what kind of school she's gonna go, what kind of career, how far she can go in life. A lot of, the type of respect was expected of her. So she's gonna have a belief system about that. It's gonna be very different from a girl that grows in, her neighborhood, where she is subject to abuse and diminishing and a lot of lack of affection. She is going to grow up with a mindset that she is a burden, that she is broken, that she's not good enough, that she's some people's way and she needs to get out, and that she's not smart enough, that she is bound to be in that level of society and poor life the rest of her life, and there's no way out. So that's your belief system, and those are two extremes, just to make it very, very clear. So the first thing is to understand, what is your belief system? What do you believe about you to be true? And it might not, is what you believe is not necessarily true or real. This is just something that you believe. Like, I used to believe that I was fat and unattractive, and that's why I couldn't get, a good husband. But it wasn't true. Everybody told me I was beautiful. But my belief is that because I wasn't skinnier and I wasn't more pretty, I couldn't get what I wanted. So that was the first thing that I did. And then the second thing that I discovered, and this was later when I started to really study, psychology, that what keeps you stuck in that belief system. You obviously have this belief system. You feel the way you feel because you have a belief system. If you're not feeling beautiful, if you feel that you're not good enough, if you feel that you have very low self-confidence, that's because you have a belief system about you. So what is getting you stuck in there? And this is the one thing that when you discover it and change it, will get you out of it. And it's very simple. Is your inner dialogue. What you're telling yourself every single day when you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and you say like, oh my God, I hate my body. Oh, I'm getting old. I'm undeserving. I am so stupid. I'm so distracting. I'm an excuse of a wife. All this beating yourself up constantly. I'm not smart enough. I'm not deserving. Those things happen to others, not to me. I used to say this all the time to myself. That happens to other women, not to me. So when you're constantly telling all yourself, this is your inner dialogue. This is a little bitch in your head that is constantly keeping you stuck in that belief system. And we all have two voices in our heads. The little bitch that is telling us that we're not good enough. And then the other little great, godmother that is, whispering, yes, you can do it. And we want to go there, but then the other one is louder. And we end up going and listening to the one that is telling us that we're not good enough. So let me see, what's next? So once you discover what your inner dialogue, it would be a good practice for you to do a good list of all the things that you're telling yourself, so you know what you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, then you don't have a plan. You cannot create a plan to change it. So discover, make a list of all the things, catch yourself having these thoughts about yourself and write them down so at least you know what they are. So you know that to feel beautiful and confident, you probably heard this, you need to love yourself. And how many times have you, and I'm going to put this example, doesn't necessarily applies to you, but let's just generalize. Women often tell me when I talk to them, I just lost 40 pounds and I'm feeling so good about myself. She's great, But then what happens when you gain it again? Then you feel bad about yourself. You hate your body again. So what you're doing is like, imagine that you have, your child, and of course you're in love with your child, but then the child grows and then misbehaves. It acts up and it throws in the grocery store, just goes into the floor and it's a tantrum in public. Do you hate your child because it's acting up? Of course not. What you do is you discipline the child. It's frustrating, but then you go and discipline the child. You don't start hating the child. And that's what we do with our bodies. We only love our bodies when they're in the best shape, when they're young, when they're looking great. But then when they're not, we blame it on our bodies and then we hate them. Loving yourself has nothing to do with your looks. Loving yourself has everything to do with connecting with yourself and seeing that your looks don't define your worthiness as a woman. So when you realize this is the core of confidence. When you stop defining yourself by things that are exterior to you, let me get rid of this. Things that are exterior to you, like your looks, your job, your relationships, your marital status, even your kids, your possessions. When you stop defining yourself on things that are exterior to you and you start to define yourself by, how kind you are, your values, where you spend your time, how do you treat people, how do you help others, that is your real value. When you start to take that on, you start to own your confidence. Because what happens when these looks go away? When you confidence, and that happens to all of us. I'm guilty of that. I'm not going to lie about it. After Christmas, I gained weight because I really enjoy myself, with my family. And coming January, I beat myself up, how did this happen? And that is not practicing self-love. I have learned to love my body after Christmas, look at my bigger belly and say, this is the evidence that I have friends, that I have family that loves me, that we have protection and time and finances to gather together, have a great time over Christmas. That's the evidence I wasn't dreaming. Because what is the other choice? Lock yourself, and stay away from everybody socializing so that you're not tempted to eat. That's no way of living. We are here to enjoy life, and part of that is interacting with others and socially. And yes, food is one of the great pleasures of life. So, redefining yourself, your value, it's not defined by your body, your looks, how old you are. Now, let's talk about how you are sabotaging yourself in your life. If you're not getting the results in your life that you want, maybe you haven't thought about this, but that's because you keep sabotaging yourself. So I'm going to tell you exactly how I was sabotaging myself. As I mentioned before, we all have this belief system, and imagine there is a thermostat, okay? When you have, and actually the thermostat here just went off because it got hot. So in a thermostat, you set a certain temperature, okay? And when it gets too hot, obviously it kicks in to bring the temperature down. And when it starts to go a little bit too cold, then it stops, so the temperature rises again, goes back to where it's set. And then it starts to get hot again, and then it kicks in and brings the temperature down. And that's what a thermostat does. Our belief system is exactly the same. Our belief system, we set up a place where we belong. We belong right here. What we are, what we deserve, what we're capable of, what we can accomplish, our worthiness, our values, or value, I'm sorry. That's what we believe. So when something happens where we start to come out of that, for example, in my case, I would start like losing weight and start working out because I believe that I would just get fed up, okay? And then something happened, like I would get a compliment and people will tell me, oh my God, Argentina, you look amazing. Oh, you should just like keep it like that. Don't gain the weight again. You look so good. I would get so mad because it's like, okay, so I'm worthy of your love just right now when I'm skinny, but not when I'm fat. And just to like, I don't know, revenge or resentment, I can't really define it. I would sabotage myself, stop going to the gym, start eating again to bring me back to where I belong, the fat version of me. And then it would start to get really bad. I would start to get really big, very out of shape. And I would say like, oh, I'm fed up with this. Who cares about people? And then I would kick it in back in. And then again. So those are called yo-yo diets, So you might be sabotaging yourself that way. So the other example is that my belief system about who I was as a woman is that I needed to be married. I had to have a husband, otherwise I wasn't fully a woman. I wasn't complete. So I would get married and things, start. So I would start to, I would be in my career, focusing on me, doing great. And then somebody would say like, oh, that's so great, but when are you getting married? When are you having kids? And again, it's like, okay, I'm not good enough like that. And I would go and find myself a husband. As I said, I have never had problems finding husbands and getting married. And now I would get married and sabotage myself to bring me to where I belong, right here, getting married. And then, because I was really never in love, what I did is I would sabotage my marriage. And I would blame my husbands and resent them for being stuck with them in order to get love and appreciation from my family. So I would sabotage the marriage until I would get married. And once I was free from my marriage, then I would start to rise again in my career, focusing on me, focusing on me, focusing on me. And then again, I would hit what is called an upper limit. Another person, something would happen again, I just would meet somebody and remind myself, oh, maybe this is the guy, and high quality guy that my family is going to really love and admire. And I would get married again to bring me back to where I thought I belonged. So I did that for 20 years. I kept sabotaging myself. So you might be doing something similar. So there's this great book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And it is, I use that a lot. I use that to find my upper limit, to really transform my life. I really encourage you to also buy that book. And in this book, Dr. Gay, and I use that a lot to for all the foundation of my book. I'm Not Fat, I'm Delicious. So if you ever end up getting the book, I explain it more, like translate it for us to what we're trying to do here, which is to feel more beautiful and confident. But in that book, he explains the 4 hidden barriers that we all have as human beings. We all have at least one. Most likely you'll have at least, probably 2. I had 3. Most people don't have 4. But I had 3 barriers. So the first barrier is the most common that almost every single human in the planet has. And it is the belief that you are not good enough. We all feel that there's something is fundamentally wrong with us that makes us unlovable, inadequate, that we don't belong. And that belief system takes us to do things in order to belong, like become people pleasers, for example. Stop being ourselves in order like I stopped being myself in order to attract these husbands and get them to marry me. And that was because I thought I was broken, that it was something fundamentally wrong with me. I believed that I wasn't good enough because I was fat. And I thought that I wasn't good enough because I was single. And again, that stopped me from really seeing my accomplishments. So something happens in our life as children that tell us that we are broken, that we are wrong, that we are not good enough in order to be loved and accepted. I remember the first time, and that has a lot to do with shame. With the first time as a child that you feel shame, you start to feel that something's wrong with you. That it's very different to say I did something wrong to I am wrong. Something is wrong with me. Very, very different. One is guilt, the other one is shame. So I remember that, I was 5 years old. I went to first grade. I went a year ahead, and I was six years old. Everybody goes at 7. So I was 6. And so I went a year early to elementary school than everybody else. And that was the first time that I felt shame in my life, because the teacher, old time, that was 1976, old school teaching, and the teachers, they still hit kids with a ruler, at least in Mexico. And this teacher had the rule that everybody had to bring a handkerchief for cleanliness. At 6, all the, buggers in your nose. So she wanted everybody to have a handkerchief to be blowing their nose. So, well, my mother never thought of it. And so the first day in class, she started to pass lists and ask if to raise their handkerchief, and I had no idea what she was asking for. So everybody who did not have a handkerchief had to go to the front of the blackboard and to be an example, and then we would get hit with a ruler in the hand. And so one by one, I was the last one to get hit, and I was so intimidated. I just put my hand out and wham, I couldn't understand why I was being hit. But that was not where I got my shame from. My shame came from peeing in my pants, from the pain, from being so scared, and then having the entire class of 40 kids laughing at me. And that was the first moment, oh my God, I'm getting a little bit, thrilled here. But that was as a 6-year-old, I couldn't understand. And that was the first time that I started to feel this shame. And it had to do with all this in my body because I peed my pants in front of everybody. So, okay, let's go back. So there's probably something in your life that also started to create this belief about yourself that there's something wrong with you. And that has carried you to adulthood. So that's the first hidden barrier, the belief that you are not good enough. The second hidden barrier that you might be encountering is the belief that you are a burden, that you bother people. And it looks something like this. Growing up, I was never celebrated my birthday. In fact, my sister and me, we have our birthdays very close together. She's the 6th, I'm the 15th. So because she was first, they would celebrate her birthday and piggyback me in her birthday and celebrate me too. And on my day, on the 15th, nobody sang happy birthday. Actually, my parents didn't even remember it was my birthday. And so I felt crushed. Imagine an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old girl that every single year her birthday is ignored. So I created, oh God, I come again here, crying. I'm sorry, girls, very emotional today. and I'm not in my period, I swear. But anyway, so what created the message that I got is that I wasn't important for my parents, and something that is supposed to be celebrated, they didn't care. How did that affect me growing up? I had this belief system, this belief that if my parents didn't care about me, what makes me think anybody else will? And that was a huge barrier that it was really hard to overcome. So, sorry, I hope that really helps you understand this being a burden. So, if something happened in your life in which you felt like you were a burden, like you were on the way, that people were dismissing you, so you might be doing things, to sabotage yourself. So in my case, I stopped selling. I think that has a lot to do that I never recognized my accomplishments. If my parents didn't care, who cares? So I never celebrated me. I never told anybody, ever again about my birthday. I never told people when I graduated. I never told people when I got married. I just went and did things and tried to hide any type of celebration so that I could, to avoid being disappointed of the reality that nobody cared, which is, is a big thing for anybody as humans, because we are wired for connection. We want to belong, we want to be loved. And believing that you are a burden, that means that, you are cast out and you are going to end up alone. So the third mental barrier that you might be encountering, it is believing that you are breaking the family rules, spoken or unspoken, and you have gone in a different path of what is expected of you, and as a result, you're going to end up alone. So breaking the rules basically means going and doing something other than what is expected of you. In my case, it was expected of me, and this is why I got married so many times. It was expected of me to be a married woman. Because if I was not married, I was not welcome in society, because a single woman in society is a threat to all the other married women. And everybody around me was married, happy or not, but they were married. So a single woman was a threat. So being single and independent, that was against the rules of society and my family. So I would sabotage myself and get married again in order to, again, be loved and accepted. Because if I wasn't married, I couldn't go into society. I couldn't go into the reunions. Because men would be, looking at me, and I would be stealing husbands, all that crap that we women think about, and the fear that I would end up alone. So that's that. It could be that, for example, that your parents expect you to go to law school, for example, and you decide to go and write music, or that's what you want to do, but you still go and become a lawyer and start a corporate job because that's what's expected of you. And because if you don't do it, then you're going to disappoint your parents. They might disinherit you, and you're miserable. So that's the other hidden barrier. And the last one is outshining others. I don't have this one, but I can explain it, what it looks like, outshining others. Let's say, for example, that there is this girl who has a sister, okay, but her sister has some disabilities, okay. So the parents are telling, let's say we have Rose and Mary. Rose, she's fine, and Mary has disabilities. So the parents tell Rose all the time to play low, not to leave her sister behind, because you're going to make her too aware of her disability, and we want her to grow as she is normal, like any other kid. So they're teaching Rose to lose, she doesn't do very well in school, so that her sister with disability doesn't feel bad. So when they grow up, Rose gets married and Mary doesn't because of her disability. She's overprotected and never gets out, and maybe she's not in condition of getting married. But Rose goes and gets married, but her marriage is a struggle. She's always having fights and just lots of conflicts with her husband. And then she comes home and then she just like keeps complaining and saying how bad her marriage is. That could be that she's sabotaging herself, her marriage, so that her sister doesn't feel bad that she never got married. So that's what outshining others looks like. You can translate it, for example, in the boardroom in a meeting, that you're very, very smart, but you don't want to say something because you don't want your coworkers to feel bad that, you know, they all got it wrong. So speaking up, and we women suffer a lot from that, you know, to make men look bad when really this is what we should be doing. So that's what it looks like. Anyway, so discovering your your upper limit, your hidden barriers is key in order to move forward in your life. And with feeling beautiful and confident, there's obviously something that in your life that definitely is caused you to feel unattractive and harm your confidence. So the next thing is that you have to have a strategy in order to change your life. And the simplest way to put it is the one thing that you have to do in this moment is to change your perception of yourself by changing your inner dialogue, by changing your belief system, by finding your mental barriers. When you understand that, then you start changing your perception of yourself. So that was key for me. That it's like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. It's nothing wrong with me. I'm not unattractive. I'm not stupid. I'm not undeserving. It's just that I had this belief system about what all I could get. So I kept sabotaging myself. So once I discovered that, then I realized that, you know, I didn't say in that moment, okay, I'm gonna have this action plan on how to turn my life around. I did it, you know, with the help of coaches and books and things that I started to do. But you can break it. Now I can see that there was 4 major things that I did and that you can do too. This is your action plan for anything that you want to change in your life. The first thing you have to do is to decide. Make a decision right now that your future is not going to equal your past, that your life cannot continue like this. Sorry, the crying gave me some buggers. Decide right now that your life is going to be different, period. Just make a decision. You know, it is the hardest part to make a decision. It's almost like deciding I'm just going to be a morning person. I'm never going to be late ever again. And you just decide. You get up, you set up the alarm every single day, even if it is a Saturday, a Sunday. I'm going to decide I'm going to sleep until 5, I'm going to sleep until 6, I'm going to sleep today until 7, set up the alarm and get up. It's a decision. It's just purely a decision you have to make. It's a split second. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. It's just a decision, like quitting smoking. A lot of people, why they quit, you know, because they cannot make a decision to just like, that's it, I'm never doing it again. But I'm sure you've made decisions before, like getting a divorce, that's it, I'm done, out. You ever had that feeling? Doesn't that feel good to make a decision? Is it like enough? So the first thing, you gotta make a decision that you gotta change. You gotta make a decision that you're not gonna be living like this, feeling unworthy, with living with, you know, low confidence and not feeling good enough, you know, about who you are. Then you have to change your inner dialogue. We talked about that before, but the next thing is you have to really change. Okay, I made a decision. What is the first thing that I have to do? Well, So everything that I believe about me, everything that I keep telling myself, I'm beating myself up, I need to stop it and change the story. If you keep telling yourself like, I'm just fat, I'm never gonna lose the weight, what would be the opposite? I am beautiful, I love this body, and when I will find a way to get my body into health, not to get skinny, into health. Health is what you have to go after, because going skinny, you can go, get very skinny, but be unhealthy. So we want to be, when you go for health, eventually your body will also respond and will look much, much better. So you have to change your inner dialogue about everything that you're telling yourself. This inner voice has to, you have to catch yourself in that moment and do the opposite. Like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Like, wait, no, in this moment, I made the decision, the best decision I could with the information that I had. I am not stupid. Or like, oh my God, I'm so lazy to go to the gym. It's like, no, I'm not lazy. I was tired. I was not in tune with my purpose. And tomorrow I will get out. I am not a lazy person. I'm deciding I am not going to be a lazy person anymore. So then the next thing you have to do is change your perception of yourself. And let me tell you something about perception. Perception is something very, very funny, very interesting, because nothing physical changes when you change your perception. It's just like a light switch in your brain. Have you ever actually, I was in a friend's house, and beautifully decorated. And she had this beautiful couch, and behind the couch there was this just outstanding tree. I just couldn't believe it. It's like, how the hell did she get that tree? And indoors in the shade? It's like, it's gotta be made out of like plastic or something. So I went to reach out and touch it, and I encountered the wall. It was wallpaper. It was not a tree. That's how change of perception works. Nothing changed physically, nothing changed. I just perceive it in a very different way. It's like a three-dimensional trick in your life. So same thing, right now you might look in the mirror and say like, oh, I'm ugly. But when you do a change of perception, you say like, wow, I'm delicious. Look at my curves. Look at my arms. Look at my strength. Look at my, muscles. Look at my arms. I have 5 fingers. I have 2 legs. I have 2 arms. What else do I want? Let's go and take care of this body now. So it's a change of perception. But it might sound easy, but how the hell do you do it? So it's where it comes me to the next thing. You can be reading all day about how to ride a bike, how to bake a cake. By memory, the ingredients. You actually need to go and actually bake the cake. You just have to. Why don't we do it? Because of fear. Why we stay where we stay? Because it takes us out of our comfort zone. Which takes me to the next step of what you need to do in order to actually make a transformation in your life. Write this down, put it in a sticky note, and tape it everywhere, because you have to do it. Think about this very often when you're trying to make a change. And it is this: break the pattern. Get out of your comfort zone. Right now, you're living inside of your comfort zone, because inside of your comfort zone, you know what to expect, even if it sucks. Even if you're in a job that you hate, you know what to expect, and you don't like it, but you're gonna get a paycheck. You're gonna get up a certain hour. You're gonna drive there. You know what you're gonna do, and you're gonna get a result. You got the certainty right there that you have your benefits, that you have, your paycheck, that you have your community, your shelter. You are safe. That is your comfort zone. What does it look like outside of your comfort zone? Well, outside of your comfort zone is the unknown, scary, danger, uncertainty, pain. That's outside of your comfort zone. Why it's so hard to get out of our comfort zones? I'm going to tell you why it's so hard to get out of your comfort zone. Because your brain is not letting you. Pretty much. It's your brain. Our brain is millions of years old and is designed for only one thing: to keep you safe, to keep you out of danger, and to keep you alive. So the moment that you try to do something, the brain analyzes, is this unknown? Do I know this? Do I know the results? Is she gonna die? Is she gonna be okay? She's gonna be happy? Is she gonna be protected? If the brain perceives that there is uncertainty, I don't know what's gonna happen, then the brain is going to make you do things to stay in your safe zone. It's gonna make you hesitate, overthink, and come up with all the different reasons and excuses of why you shouldn't do it. That's your brain. The only way to overcome that is by making a decision and tell your brain, you're not in charge, I am, and I'm gonna do it. Because the biggest fear is obviously fear of loss, fear of defeat, fear of being alone, fear of what if it doesn't work, what if I lose, what if I die, what if I'm not happy, what if I don't like it, what if I fail. That's outside of a comfort zone. But you ask yourself this question, okay, what are the two extremes? I succeed and it's just unbelievable, I can't believe it, it's more than I thought it would be. The other one, I lose everything, I end up even dead and totally unhappy. None of those most likely is going to happen. It's going to happen something in between, most likely. So your confidence cannot be built until you get out of your comfort zone. And until you get out of your comfort zone, you cannot build your confidence. So, did I say right? Yeah, confidence gets built when you get out of your comfort zone. Exactly, yes. I think I did it twice. So, but you say like, I need to be confident in order to get out of my comfort zone. That's what I wanted to say. You need confidence, by getting out of your comfort zone is how you build confidence. And you think, but I need to be confident to get out of my comfort zone. And the truth is that not necessarily. All you have to have is courage, determination, make a decision, and the belief that whatever happens on the other side, it's not going to be as bad. Something, it's not going to be the extreme. It's going to be probably somewhere in between. So you have to break the pattern and get out of your comfort zone. And what is the best way to get out of your comfort zone? Well, you have to say yes to something that scares you. Something that scares you as much as it excites you. Let's say that you want to travel and you are so excited about traveling, you even have the means to travel, but it scares you to travel alone. So it excites you and scares you in the same level. So that would put you to make a decision to get out of your comfort zone. If you get out of your comfort zone when you don't have something that excites you, it makes no sense. It has to be something that excites you as much as it scares you. You can start with small things. Because when you start to see your progress and your little successes, it starts to build your confidence to the point that you become more daring, and it will help you to keep pushing and pushing and pushing to grow your confidence, to get more and more out of your comfort zone until you transform your life. And that's pretty much what I did. There's certain things that, come into your life, you don't even expect them, you force into them, and out of that, you come up with, you're definitely put out of your comfort zone and you build your confidence that way. But voluntarily doing it, it's harder. So, so yeah, that's kind of like, you know, the whole road that I took with my life, and pretty much, you know, every single woman that has worked with me has taken this path, has made a decision, has changed her inner dialogue. I have helped her to change her inner dialogue. I have helped her change the perception of herself, and definitely she got out of her comfort zone, and the results were amazing. So with that, I want to come to the end of this training. I hope you enjoy it. Again, I want to give you the welcome to this group. If you're new to this group, and I hope that you found this training useful. But if you want, in any case, any type of help and just chat with me a little bit about your personal situation, I would be delighted to talk to you. You can just drop me a private message here in the Facebook group. Or that would be the best, you know, tag me in a comment, and we can chat. Whatever area, you know, wherever you are in life in this moment, however you feel in this moment, just remember, it doesn't have to stay that way. There is a way out. There is a formula. I have walked that path. Many women I have helped to walk that path, and now you can do it too. You don't have to go and reinvent the wheel and spend 20 years, as I did, figuring me out. You can really go the fast track, the fast route, and turn your life around really, really fast. It's really amazing, you know, when I see some clients a year later, or maybe even a few months later, and they're completely different women. It's just amazing how they're so full of energy. They're so much more confident. It's the way we want to live. That's the way we're meant to be. Happy, proud of ourselves, excited about how far can we go? What else can I do with my life? I deserve more. I'm gonna go after my dreams. That comes out of confidence. And unfortunately, our self-image has a lot to do with how confident we feel about who we are, because we keep defining ourselves by the way we look. And you know, definitely, I'm not going to deny that, you know, taking beautiful photos definitely helps any woman change her perception of herself. Talking about getting out of your comfort zone, that is the one thing where you could be making a decision to get out of your comfort zone. Why? Because your biggest fear outside of that, of taking this picture, the unknown, the scary, where there could be pain, is what if I don't like the way I look in those pictures? What if evidence of my inadequacy or my unattractiveness is now captured in these images? What am I going to do? And believe me, that's not going to happen. It's not going to be obviously the absolute best or the absolute worst. It's going to be somewhere in between, but it's going to be more towards the, wow, this is like amazing. So that's definitely, you know, it just works like wonders. It is like this light switch that goes into your head, in changing your perception of yourself, your self-image, because this is about falling in love with you, and that includes your body, because you're together. You can't get, the only time that you're going to be separated is when you die. So you are pretty much stuck in this body. So you only have two choices in this life. You can be miserable, feeling inadequate and unattractive and that you're not good enough, or you can learn, because you're not born like that. Actually, we are born like that, but then they screw us up. But you can fall in love. You can train yourself into being in love with you, into respecting your body, into seeing your own beauty, into embracing that. And more people will see it. And just to give you an example, you know, I started to, you know, go out in a couple of dates, and wow, it's just so amazing when you show up for you into a public place, in a bar, in a restaurant, by yourself, dating you. It's just amazing how many women you attract, men you attract. So one of the biggest benefits, if you want to start dating again, or want to increase the relationship, your intimacy with your partner, husband, partner, boyfriend, feeling confident in your body, loving your body, seeing your beauty. Not everybody's going to see it. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but certain men are going to look at you. Certain men look at me when I'm out. There's some that I like it, they don't look at me, and so the ones, they look at me. So it's just the way it works. But it has a huge effect when you fall in love with yourself and feel beautiful and confident. That's, and men tell me that all the time. It's like, yes, I mean, they would tell me, you're beautiful, but man, you're so confident. That makes you just so much more attractive. I wish more women were like you. Instead, like, well, I'm working on that. I'm totally working on that. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate that. Whether you're watching this live or the replay, I want to welcome you into this group, and you know how to reach me. I'm Argentina Leiva, body love coach, author, speaker, and Buddha photography to all the women that I can reach out into the world. So thank you so much for listening to me, putting up with me on my crying and all that. And I really hope that I inspire you to be today a bigger version of yourself. Bye, everyone.